Hey everyone, so excited to start getting back into the swing of things at school, although it's a little bit different now. I'm sure we'll all figure this out together, and I know it'll be fabulous. What we're going to do today for writing is we are going to be observing an object and write a descriptive poem about it. So what you will need for this lesson is a piece of paper. Now if you don't have a piece of paper, maybe you got a book from school. If not, just use anything that you can write on. This could be like a cardboard box from your recycling, just anything. You'll need ideally a couple of different coloured pens. If you don't have those, that's okay. We'll just make do. And then you'll need to search around the house or outside, inside for something that catches your eye. So you want an object that's going to allow for lots of descriptive language and things like that to come out. So for example, I went outside and I grabbed this PowerShell from the garden. I picked this because it's got really good colours, it's got a cool shape, and it's got an interesting back which is going to allow for lots of description. So I want you to go and find that and then check back in with me. Cool, now that you've found your item that you have chosen, what you now need to do is you need to split your page into 4 parts. And these 4 parts are going to help you build your poem. In this top corner over here, we're going to look at all the vocab to help us describe our item and just state some things that are on it, which will be our nouns. And that's why we needed our 2 different colours. However, if you don't have those 2 different colours, don't worry, it's okay. So our adjectives are going to be in my green pen, and adjectives are our describing words and things like maybe what it feels like or what it looks like. Maybe you want to smell the item. I don't know if I'd smell this one though. My pink pen is going to be all the nouns, so the naming words, so things like hose, shell, power, those kind of things. So I'm going to start with my nouns and I'm just going to note them up here. Remember, if you aren't great at spelling, that's okay, we can fix those kind of things later. So I'm going to look at my shell and I'm going to say that it is a shell, it is a power. Now I can see that there's some holes amongst this as well as I guess kind of like barnacles, so I'm going to write those in. I'm not sure if they're barnacles, but I'm just going to say that they are anyway. And now I'm going to move on to my green pen, and my green pen is going to be all the adjectives. So I'm just going to start with the outside of my item. I'm going to really give it a good touch and I'm going to feel what it feels like. I want you to really develop some good language about this. So I could say that it is rough, or I could use a bit more of a sophisticated word, which the easiest way to do this is to go to thesaurus.com and look up different synonyms. So you could type in rough and you'll come up with different ones. So I'm going to go with coarse. I'm going to underline that because I'm not sure if that's the correct spelling. I can see that it is kind of a cream colour. So I'm writing cream on the outside, because in the inside obviously it's a little bit different. And the inside you can see it's also a lot smoother and it is shiny. And I can see lots of ripples inside it. So if you look at closely, I don't know if you can see on this, but there's lots of white ripples. So those are just some examples of what you could do. Don't spend too long on this activity, but you just want enough vocab that you can build your sentences, which will be done up here. So spend about 5 minutes thinking of different vocab. If you can, use your 2 different colours. If you can't, don't worry. So check back in 5 minutes of what your next job will be. So as you can see, I've added in a few more bits of vocab into my plan. What you're going to do up here in this top right hand corner is you're going to build some sentences using this vocab map that you have made. So I'm just going to start by pulling out some of these words that really kind of pull out to me straight away. So coarse, which I did spell right. Yes, go me. Cream, I'm going to use those ones to describe the PowerShell without actually stating that it's a PowerShell. So I'm going to use a lot of show not tell to say and describe what it is without naming it PowerShell. So my first sentence I'm going to use is going to be waiting on its course cream back. Now, why I've kind of written it a bit bigger and left some space is so I can go back and edit it later. So this is a draft, so it's allowed to have crossing out. It's going to have a lot of editing afterwards for the next part when we publish down there. So I'll write another sentence amongst this, and then I want you to give it a go. So layers of barnacles carpet the oval shaped shell. Now what you can see here is I'm really pulling this vocab out. So I've used cream and coarse, I've used barnacles, oval, and shell. So I've really pulled out those ones already. So it's really helping me build those sentences. What I want you to do now is I want you to give it a go, and then later we'll meet up to edit. Cool, welcome back. As you can see, I've just added in a little bit more. I've added in another sentence. It couldn't fit in my box, so that's okay. I just rolled another line underneath there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back. I'm going to edit some of this. So I think already I've found some things that I can make better. So at the moment it is waiting on its coarse cream back, which is describing this part. Layers of barnacles carpet the oval shaped shell. Oh, that's really hard to say quite quickly. Inside is smooth, shining, with rivers of violet, green, and blue. Now I used rivers to describe all these different colors going on here, which I thought was a really good description. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit some of these things to make it a little bit better. So I've got here waiting on its coarse cream back. Now I feel like I can make that a little bit better by adding in how they are waiting. So obviously the shell isn't moving on its own. So I'm going to write down that it's patiently waiting on its coarse cream back. So patiently, I'm going to get the picture that it's sitting still. Layers of barnacles carpet the oval shaped shell. Inside is smooth, shining with rivers of violet, green, and blue. If you wanted to go a little bit better, you could kind of come up with better words for green or blue. You could kind of look into it a little bit more descriptive. So instead of purple, I've written violet here. I'm also going to describe up here the barnacle. So that's a great opportunity to describe, well, what do the barnacles feel like? And in some areas, it's really sharp. So I'm going to write layers of sharp barnacles carpet the oval-shaped shell. Inside is smooth, shining with rivers of violet, green, and blue. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to stop there and let you know what this part here is. So in this part here, we are going to publish our writing that we did up here. So this is our draft. Over here, we're going to do it with our best writing. We're going to have no spelling mistakes. You would have fixed those up. All your edits will be included, and you're going to try and do it with your best writing. It might be easier that you do this first with a pencil, and that way you can rub out any mistakes that you might have made. And then you want to go over it with either a nice pen, maybe you want to use your felts, that's up to you, that's okay. So what you now need to do is you are going to make sure you have a title first of all. Sometimes these come back a little bit easier after you've written it, and I think that's kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to ponder that whilst I write this out. So bear with me, I'm just going to quickly write down my poem for you. So as you can see, I've now finished my published piece from my draft. I've now included a title, but it's not very good. I probably could have done a better job with that, with the treasure. So now what you're going to do in this bottom area is you're going to ideally use a pencil and you're going to sketch your item that you've chosen. If you don't have a pencil, that's okay. You can just make do with what you've got. I don't really have time to draw a PowerShell here, but what I've got is one that I've previously drawn, and that was of a Monstera plant. So that's my sketch. I've really tried to look at the detail, and rather than leaving it white, I've actually shaded it in because, yeah, the plant's not white, it's actually green. So that would go there. If you wanted to go above and beyond and you wanted to extend yourself a little bit more, you could get creative with publishing your poem that you've done. So what I've done in the past is I have drawn the plant and then got really creative with how I have kind of written my poem, which is something you could do. You don't have to do it, but it's just an extra option that you could do. So that is environmental poems, where you would have learnt to use nouns and adjectives to build your sentences and edit them. Well done, T. Cool, thanks everyone for today's lesson on writing. I'm really excited to see some of those poems that you've written. So you're more than welcome to upload them to a doc and share it to me. I'll have my email on the bottom of this page. But you can also take a photo if you wished to do that of your work. If you didn't feel like typing it up, that's okay. So you just need to upload the photo onto a doc and then share it with me. My email will be on the slideshow. Thanks everyone.